Hi, everyone. Becky Belote. I'm a creative memories advisor in Newport News, Virginia. This is not my Tip Tuesday. I know it's Tuesday, but I already did my Tip Tuesday. So if you are looking for page layout ideas, this is not your video. I am just actually taking this opportunity to I do this once or twice a year where I just share my heart with creative memories. So I pretty much would like to just start with a little bit about me. I have been in direct sales for years, almost 30 years, in fact. And I did it initially because my first baby, Zoe, was born with a very rare birth defect and literally almost died. And I had had all this postpartum depression, and I was not with that sweet motherly heart that I should have had and that gratitude that I should have had. I was in a very deep, dark place. And when she almost died, it was, I think, God striking me with lightning, to come out of it. And so it was shortly after that that I decided that this was something that I wanted to do. I went part-time teaching at first so that I could stay at home with my babies. When I realized that daycare did not work very well with part-time because we had the high school that I taught at. I was a high school math teacher in a high school that I taught at. If you did every other day, that you had to pay for the whole week. And that's what my school did was Monday, Wednesday, Friday one week, Tuesday, Thursday the next. And it just made it very hard to get any kind of daycare. And when I ran the numbers, I might as well stay at home. So it was the most difficult decision to give up teaching, not only because we needed the income, but because I love teaching. And I just thought, this is going to be temporary. I'm going to go back to my real job as soon as I can. And 30 years later, here I still am. I have dabbled with education here and there, but there's nothing like creative memories. I will never look back on this decision. It's been just such a blessing to our family for so many reasons. So when I first started, I was pretty terrible at it. Um, I will say that I was that girl. I was the teacher. I wasn't going to sell anything. I was the teacher, and so. I would go into classes and, show my heart out and talk people out of buying stuff, like, you know what? You all could split that sticker pack. And I did all kinds of crazy things. And I remember coming home many times telling my husband that I sold $1.50 or I sold a $10, sticker pack or something. So anyways, it started slow. But after my first summer without teaching, I very quickly saw the growth potential. What I was really good at was getting those people that walked away back into a fun community where we got to get away from the laundry. We got to get away for a little while from all of those obligations around the house that if you're in the house, you feel like you have to do. So yeah, I can scrapbook at home, but it's not quite as dedicated as if I get to go away and spend the day with ladies. And for me, as an introvert, I have difficulty sometimes getting out. Sometimes people have to pull me out. And it was one of those things that was just so good for me that I got to go out. And yes, it was intimidating, but my group grew slowly. So it wasn't like I started, with 17 people scrapbooking with me. It didn't start that way. It was a few. We started our first one in a little it was an overflow room at Mike's place. If anybody is from Newport News, it's a little bar and grill that I remember so fondly. Rest in peace, Mike. Mike O'Neill, he was the owner, and I loved that place. But anyways, he allowed me to do my first couple crops in a little conference room, and we had like maybe six people, and we had lunch together, and it was I made friends. I made friends, and what I realized is people that want to work on scrapbooks, they come back over and over. So it was a very fun growth pattern, and I went from four or five people at an event to sometimes I have 50 people at an event, and it doesn't make me scared anymore. It doesn't make me nervous or intimidated. It's just a bigger group of friends. It's just like family, and it happened a little bit at a time. And so now, whereas at the beginning I was really terrible at it, and my husband, you know, was like, "Oh, another $10 class. Are you sure this is what you want to do?" To now, I know that many of you that follow me know that my husband has had many major surgeries, over 50 major surgeries, and by the grace of God, I have had this business. I've had this business that can flex with me, that has allowed me to be able to provide for our family times when my husband could not, when he was in the hospital or he was unable to work, because we're both self-employed. So I am grateful for this company. I'm grateful for how it's changed me. I would never be doing this 30 years ago. I would never be talking to you on YouTube. It has raised my self-confidence to a level that it's just good to not always be afraid of your shadow or to be afraid to open your mouth. I remember when my youngest got married, I did a toast at her wedding, and she had, close to 200 people there, and I was confident, it was so special to be able to share those words with my daughter and my new son-in-law about how much I love them and about some of the funny stories. And I'll never forget how this business made me able to do that. So many ways. It has a way of bringing out your many gifts, because we learn marketing skills, we learned, inventory skills, leadership skills. I have a team of women that depend on me to help them be successful. It's just a really cool thing. So enough about me, and now I just want to share a little bit about the company, and if you are interested in joining, I would love to have you join on. We are up against a little bit of a deadline. Many of us in the Creative Memory sales force, we are trying to earn a trip to Jamaica. And one of the things that really helps us is to get new teammates before the end of June. And so here we are, 1 week left in June. And so we're all putting that last plug in. Any time before the end of the year will help us, but the company is throwing extra perks in if we have you join by the end of June. So if you've been thinking about it, please do some soul searching. And if it appeals to you, reach out to me. If there's somebody else that's been working with you that's been asking you about it, maybe reach out to them now to see if this might be the time. Because boy, we would be so grateful, if now would be the time. So let me just tell you a little bit more about it if you don't know anything about it. First of all, it's $49 to join. So if you're scrapbooking already, maybe you don't use scrapbooking, creative memory supplies at all. It doesn't really matter. You can join whether you use Creative Memories products or not, and then hopefully get a great discount off some of the things that you really love that Creative Memories has. Usually, if you're scrapbooking with another line, you like that line, and that's fantastic. But I bet you're going to like a lot of our stuff too. So be a great way to get a good discount while you're starting. So $49 to join. And when you join, the company gives you a $50 credit. And that's been like that since this company has opened about 10 years ago. So that has never changed. You sign up for 49, you get 50 and free. So they're basically paying you $1 to join. And the 50 free is whatever you pick, but they also give you a gift. Now I'm going to show you a gift, and that's what this gift is. But they changed these gifts, and right now we're June 24th, 2025. So this could change anytime, but this is a really nice. You can see I'm showing you the bottom to see how much space is inside. You could do two nice size albums in there. It's got this nice zipper pocket on the front. You could hold, all kinds of things in there. Money bag. This could be a business bag. It could be a scrapbooking bag. It could be, whatever you want, but it's pretty. It's got polka dots, and this and a few other items totaling $54. You're going to get that too. Okay, so you're going to get that when you place your very first order, where you redeem your $50 certificate. And if you are watching this and it is the last week of June in 2025, right now they have an extra promotion that if you throw $100 in your cart, not only can you take $50 off of that, but you can take an additional $25 off of that. So $100 in supplies for just 25. So that's another reason why we just found out about this. So if you're seeing all kind of plugs on social media for joining now, it's because it's a really good deal to join now. All right. So I wanted to mention that. There are no minimums. Okay. So what is really cool about that? When I joined years ago, um, so when I say years ago, it really was years and years ago. The company that we have now is a little bit different than the company 30 years ago. But that company 30 years ago, we did have a minimum. I sponsored a lot of women that minimum, which was $500 that we had to sell every 3 months. For some of them, it was hard. It was hard, especially brand new, if they didn't have, a supportive group of people to buy from them right off the bat. And sometimes we have to grow into it, right? We don't have a supportive group right off the bat. We have to learn all the tips and tricks and, reach out to people. And sometimes it's not an easy start. So for those that had to place a $500 order every 3 months, it was debt. It was a closet full of inventory that they didn't need. All right. So that is all gone. There is no minimum orders. I don't want you to order unless it's something that you want or something your customers want. I want you to stay profitable. So, um, so there are no minimum orders, so you don't have to have that stress. And there's no catch to that. So do you mean never a minimum order? I mean never. There's never anything that you have to order, okay? Let's see. A lot of people that like to do this, like for me, it was because I had this new baby, it was something to help me when I had a new baby. We have a lot of people, um, oh, that's not what I wanted to say. The minimum order thing, like if you're thinking you're never going to order, this is probably not going to help you. Like the only way you're going to save money is if you buy stuff, right? So why is that minimum order? It's definitely helpful at the beginning. I lost my train of thought. It's definitely helpful at the beginning, but it's also helpful when life happens. Like you can be plugging around along at your business and ordering weekly because you see people weekly and people are ordering off your website. Your sister in California just places an order. Your next door neighbor, walks over and needs a tape runner you know, there are times that the business rolls really nice, but what if you had a new baby? What if all of a sudden you now are having to take care of an elderly parent? What if you have an extended illness? Maybe a child in your family had an extended illness or an injury. Or like me, sometimes my husband, I need to take care of him. So it's good to not feel like I have to place an order, that if I need to place an order, it takes minutes to do on the computer. So it's not that big a deal, but I don't want that financial need to have to place that order. And so that's what not having minimum orders does for you. We are paid weekly. So anything I buy for myself or to have on my shelf, because I like to have stuff on my shelf, not because you have to have things on your shelf, um, you get paid weekly. So if I place an order today, next week I'm going to get a paycheck for that. All right. A commission check. All right. That check will be anywhere from 10% to 40% of what we buy. So depending on what level. So if you're at a level one, you get a 10% discount. If you're at a level two, you get a 25% discount. And it goes up all the way to a 40% discount. So it's really profitable. There's a lot of companies that don't have that kind of profit margin. And there's no hoops to jump through. If you sold 2000, it's 40% of 2000. There's no formulas for figuring it out. It's easy. You can read our rules on a card this big. It's just really easy to figure out. You don't have to be a math genius. Um, so a lot of people think, oh, well, to get that 40% discount, you probably have to sell thousands and thousands of dollars a month. And that's not true either. Our highest level, level five, those ladies are selling $15,000 or more in a year. So that's about 1250. So if you're an advisor from the old company, you know that that is very realistic for somebody that's working the business. So, if you're doing an event a week or, a couple crops a month, you know that that is very reasonable to do. All right. Let's see. The first promotion level. So I mentioned level one, you get a 10% discount. That's not much, but you won't sit there. Level one is for anybody that has purchased or sold $551 in their first year. All right. So $551, most women, I think our team average per month is, around $500. So we're talking about to have a whole year to do that. Very realistic. And then you will make 25%, which is a really nice chunky discount. Okay. Um, in addition to that, if as a brand new advisor, if you happen to hit level two in your first 2 months, your first 60 days, you'll get an additional $100 in free of your choice. So that does kind of up the ante. I try to work with my new people to help them hit that mark, even if they don't want to do anything else with the business. In other words, help them get maybe do a little card class or do something to hit that 551 in their first 60 days. Even if they're just going to kind of service their mom and their sister and they really don't want to have a bunch of parties, they don't want to come to team meetings, they just want to have fun with it and get their stuff at cost and help maybe a friend or two get going. All right. um what kind of people love this? Retired people love this. Sometimes you can't wait till retirement and all of a sudden, you've lost a friend group. When you were at work, you had a big friend group, and now you're retired and your friend group has diminished. It's a great way to start over on a really fun and joyful and meaningful thing. It's totally fun. Crafty people that are addicted to scrapbooking. um, People who have families that craft together, they would probably like to do this. Genealogists, anybody out there that just needs some extra money. All right. So you don't even have to be, a big scrapbooker. You can just be a business person. Just if you look at our career plan compared to others, it's just a great career plan. So if you're open to learning how to do this, because I don't think that you can be good at selling scrapbooking supplies unless you believe in it. In fact, I have turned many a person to another direct sales company because I believe in direct sales so much. I love it. I love it for that independent person just because of what it has done for me. But I do feel like you have to love what you sell. I believe that. So, but it's worth taking a look, even if you don't know anything about us. Take a look at it. If you're local to me, come on over and let's try some products. If you're not local to me, let me know if you're interested in having a few products. I'd be happy to ship you a couple so that you can see the quality and see if this is something you'd like to take advantage of. Um, let's see. This company works for disabled folks. Let's say that you have limitations about getting out of the house. Are you good with the computer? Because if you are, you could do it like I'm doing it right now. You could simply, show things from your computer and have people order from your website. So it works really good if you have a temporary disability or a permanent disability to raise a little bit of money and you can't lose. There are no minimum requirements. So unless you have a problem with spending, and again, if you're one of those that's just going to spend, 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 and you really need to make the income, that spending is not profitable unless you're actually selling. So wanted to let people know that, sometimes having your own business is not in the best interest if you have a spending problem that you can't control. I'm going to say stay-at-home moms because that's where I was. We have a lot of luck with nurses and teachers because of the flexibility that we have. I do find that nurses and teachers are really good at this because you already have the teaching element down, and the nurturing element down, and the helpful element down. You already want to help people. Um, for teachers, sometimes they don't have an opportunity to work their business for 9 months out of the year, but then over the summer they can really go crazy. So it really works with those kind of schedules. I know that some teacher groups they like to meet together at work, and I know nurses they have those workstations where they're able sometimes to do crafting and stuff. So, anyways, it's a great opportunity. It's also great for those serious jobs. Do you have a serious job? One that is so serious that it doesn't bring you a lot of joy, even though it's meaningful and it's an amazing work, doesn't bring you a lot of joy. Sometimes we have people with those serious, very, high-end jobs that they're not quitting their job, but they love creative memories as a side job. It's that side gig to bring them joy, to keep them from pulling their hair out from those really stressful days, and to just let that creative side come out. So, anyways, I think I've covered about everything that I wanted to talk about. If you are pondering this at all, please reach out to me. I would love uh, to 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 help you make a decision as to if this is something that you would like to do. And I also want to be put a plug out there again to ex advisors. Um, Ex advisors, I encourage you to reach out to any of our ex advisors that moved on with the new company. It's a total new company. It's a debt free company. We've been in business for 10 years. Our sales are going like this. We're growing like crazy. We have incentive trips yearly. It's just fun. And if you talk to any of us, we will tell you that we are more profitable than we were before because we don't have all of the extra expenses that we had before. We have all kinds of ways to have things paid for, like door prices and stuff like that, if you're doing a regular business. So very profitable. Would love to have you back if you're an ex-advisor that you're looking out there. I was a senior director in the old company, and I'm definitely more profitable today than I ever was at the tippy top. So wanted to mention that. And I know senior director is not the tippy top, but it was near the tippy top, right? So and then let's see here. And if you are an advisor out there already, a part of the Creative Memory sales force, and you don't have a upline, if things are working great and you don't feel like you need an upline, fine. But I like you to know what you're saying no to. Okay, because a lot of people think that they don't want an upline because they don't want to be bugged. And I do think that there are companies out there, and there may even be some consultant advisors, advisors with creative memories that you could sign up under that might bug you. But I would like to say that you should give somebody a try, because if you don't like them, unlike any other company that I've ever heard of, you can switch. So if you join under somebody and you don't like it in one calendar year, you can switch. You can pick somebody else. So you're not stuck with anybody forever. So if they don't meet your needs, you can switch. So there's nothing to be afraid of. But what you are saying no to is the camaraderie of a team. Somebody that can um can walk you through if you run into a problem. So let's say you're just going to do this for fun. You're just going to sell things to your mom and sister. I don't want to go to team meetings. I don't want to, you know, go to team crops. Maybe you don't want any of that. You just want to be left alone. Let me or your upline know that that's what you want, and we're fine with that. You're going to get a weekly email from me, and that's it, unless you want to do more. But you'll also get a free Christmas gift from me. You'll also get a birthday gift from me. You'll also, like if you do something good, even when you're not trying, you're going to get a well done message from me. So there is something to be said to being part of a team. You can join our team Facebook group and look for oddball things that maybe the company sold out of prematurely, that somebody else got extras. To have a team that would help find the things that you need. You could have, our prayer group. I mean, when something's going wrong on our team, we like to pray for each other. And I think it's something special to be on a team. So I'm just bringing that up. If you're not on a team, pick a team leader, pick somebody to join under. And I would love for it to be me if you're not already involved with somebody else. So thanks for listening, everybody. I'm going to give my phone number so it'll be easier for you to contact me if you have questions. My number is 757-871-4546. Thanks for watching and have a great